My name is Dane, and I'm going to make an MMO. Why am I making an MMO? Well, I believe I can. An MMO can be made by one person, if the scope is right. It's already been done. It's been proven. I'm not breaking any new ground here. Let me introduce you to a little-known game of the past called Fantasy Online. Fantasy Online was made by one guy in college, I think. It was an MMO that was low graphics. It was between somewhere 8 and 16 bits, I think. It was very simplistic. You click on a monster, and if you were really advanced, you'd click on a monster again. I'm merely trying to make the spiritual successor to Fantasy Online. I remember spending many an hour playing Fantasy Online when I actually worked in a call center, answering technical support calls for internet-related problems. And it was then that I realized that an MMO was not some crazy feat of coding prowess that could only be achieved by AAA developers like Sony or Blizzard at the time. It could be just a guy who knew how to code. So what I aim to achieve is something similar to that. A game with simple graphics that you can play in your browser. I am a systems architect. That's the guy who works for a larger company that if a device runs on electricity, it's my job to know the ins and outs of said machine and how to design an environment around it. I've been programming various different types of code for roughly 15-ish years. I know HTML, PHP, SQL, C#, Java, and a scripting language known as AutoHotkey. When it comes to what makes a good MMO, it all boils down to two things. Is it profitable, and is it fun to play? For the first part, it's easy to determine. There are graphs, there are profits, they're published. It's very easy to determine what practices make an MMO profitable. Unfortunately, making an MMO more profitable usually makes a game less fun. We're talking about things like loot boxes and predatory practices and crazy time sinks and things to get you hooked on playing the game for as long as possible. Things to get you addicted. When it comes to making a game fun, that's more subjective, unfortunately. How do I know what makes a game fun? Well, first off, I don't. What I can say is I'm a game developer first and a publisher second. A game developer's job is to make the game fun, and a publisher's job is to make the game available and profitable for the consumer. My standard of living is already provided to me by my day job. Therefore, I can focus on making the game as fun as possible without having to worry about the publication and the profitability of the game. The game is called Noia. It means bored, or boring in Italian. It's made in Unity, and Unity is supported on every device known to man, basically, so it can be played on any device. So far, I've already had successful tests on a PC client and a web client, so it can already be played in the browser. I want the game to be easy to learn, easy to pick up and play at a moment's notice, yet complicated enough that you actually have to think about how you're building your character, but not so complicated that you have to have a Wikipedia page explain to you min-max strategies for the current meta of the game. A lot of games nowadays that call themselves MMOs are really glorified single-player games with the occasional meetup of 4 other people that help you go through a dungeon. That's not what I want to create. I want to create a social environment where you can have your single-player goal and quests and whatnot, but at the same time there is going to be open world areas that are also geared towards group play. There are dungeons that are meant for single players, and there are dungeons that are made for group play. I want there to be a distinctive social interactive part of the game where you play and communicate with other people. I had to decide between Unreal and Unity, the 2 major platforms of the time. Well, back when I was originally giving this idea some real thought, Unreal cost money, and Unity didn't. Unreal is free today, but that doesn't matter anymore. Unity was the choice that I went with. There were 2 major platforms at the time for making an MMO, or rather the net code side of things, not the gameplay, the networking side, the client versus server side of things. And the 2 code bases at the time was Atavism versus UMMO RPG. Atavism was what I discovered first, but unfortunately the primary developer of Atavism suffered major injury in a car accident and was put out of commission for a while. They may be back on their feet now, but when I saw that news, it's when I started looking for something else, and I found UMMO RPG in the Unity asset store. To add weight to the decision to go with UMMO RPG over Atavism, I actually found a person in the UMMO RPG Discord going by the name of I Am a Llama. This person was actually one of the devs in the later days of Fantasy Online. This guy, who was already much better at coding than I was had picked this platform as well. Seeing a person who was making a spiritual successor to Fantasy Online in the game called Waves of Time, that made my decision that much easier. This channel is my dev channel. This is where you and I will go on this journey together, and you will watch the evolution of Noia. I hope to post videos here of parts of the game that I am working on, and where I will go through my thought process, essentially, and code of what I'm doing. And it might not make sense. I hope it does. I might be working on one part of a system at one moment and then realize I can do something better with this system 5 minutes later and backtrack to where I was and redo an entire class all over again. So I'll try and make it make sense, but you're gonna be there the whole time, so I'll try and make it a little interesting for you. Hello? No. It's not working.
Oh, why are you blinking? Yes! It's a rainbow!
And that's it. Welcome to Noia Dev.